20 books in 20 minutes. Red Rising by Pierce Brown. Darrow is a Red, a member of the lowest caste in the color-coded society of the future. Like his fellow Reds, he works all day, believing that he and his people are making the surface of Mars livable for future generations. He toils willingly, trusting that his blood and sweat will one day result in a better world for his children. But Darrow and his kind have been betrayed. Soon he discovers that humanity reached the surface generations ago. Vast cities and lush wilds spread across the planet. Darrow and Reds like him are nothing more than slaves to a decadent ruling class. Inspired by a longing for justice and driven by the memory of lost love, Darrow sacrifices everything to infiltrate the legendary Institute, a proving ground for the dominant gold caste, where the next generation of humanity's overlords struggle for power. He'll be forced to compete for his life and the very future of civilization against the best and most brutal of society's ruling class. There he will stop at nothing to bring down his enemies, even if it means he must become one of them to do so. For readers who enjoyed The Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard and The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins. The Good Luck of Right Now by Matthew Quick. For 38 years, Bartholomew Neal has lived with his mother. When she gets sick and dies, he has no idea how to be on his own. His red-headed grief counselor, Wendy, says he needs to find his flock and leave the nest. But how does a man whose whole life has been grounded in his mom, Saturday Mass, and the library learn how to fly? Bartholomew thinks he's found a clue when he discovers a free Tibet letter from Richard Gere hidden in his mother's underwear drawer. In her final days, Mom called him Richard. There must be a cosmic connection. Believing that the actor is meant to help him, Bartholomew awkwardly starts his new life, writing Richard Gere a series of highly intimate letters, Young and the Dalai Lama, Philosophy and Faith, Alien Abduction and Cat Telepathy, the Catholic Church and the Mystery of Women are all explored in his soul-bearing epistles. But mostly the letters reveal one man's heartbreakingly earnest attempt to assemble a family of his own. For readers who enjoyed About a Boy by Nick Hornby and The Pleasure of My Company by Steve Martin. After I'm Gone by Laura Lippman. When Felix Brewer meets Bernadette Bambi Gottschalk at a Valentine's dance in 1959, he charms her with wild promises, some of which he keeps. Thanks to his lucrative, if not all legal, businesses, she and their 3 girls live in luxury. But on the 4th of July, 1976, Bambi's comfortable world implodes when Felix, newly convicted and facing prison, mysteriously vanishes. Though Bambi has no idea where her husband or his money might be, she suspects one woman does, his mistress, Julie. When Julie disappears 10 years to the day that Felix went on the lam, everyone assumes she's left to join her old lover until her remains are eventually found. Now, 26 years after Julie went missing, Roberto Sandy Sanchez, a retired Baltimore detective working cold cases for some extra cash, is investigating her murder. What he discovers is a tangled web stretching over 3 decades that connects 5 intriguing women. And at the center is the missing man, Felix Brewer. Somewhere between the secrets and lies connecting past and present, Sandy will find the truth. And when he does, no one will ever be the same. For readers who enjoyed A Secret Kept by Tatiana Dorunay and Don't Let Go by Harlan Coben. The Ghost of the Mary Celeste by Valerie Martin. In 1872, the American merchant vessel Mary Celeste was discovered adrift off the coast of Spain. Her cargo was intact and there was no sign of struggle, but the crew was gone. They were never found. In a haunted, death-obsessed age, a ghost ship appearing in the mist is by turns a provocative mystery, an inspiration to creativity, and a tragic story of the disappearance of a family and of a bond between husband and wife that for one moment transcends the impenetrable barrier of death. For readers who enjoyed The Collector of Lost Things by Jeremy Page and The Passenger by Frank Tallis. The Wife, the Maid, and the Mistress by Ariel Lawhon. They say behind every great man there's a woman. In this case, there are three. Stella Crater, the judge's wife, is the picture of propriety, draped in long pearls and the latest Chanel. Ritzy, a leggy showgirl with Broadway aspirations, thinks moonlighting in the judge's bed is the quickest way off the chorus line. Maria Simon, the dutiful maid, has the judge to thank for her husband's recent promotion to detective in the NYPD. Meanwhile, Crater is equally indebted to Tammany Hall leaders and the city's most notorious gangster, Oni the Killer Madden. On a sultry summer night, as rumors circulate about the judge's involvement in a wide-scale political corruption, the Honorable Joseph Crater steps into a cab and disappears without a trace. Or does he? After 39 years of necessary duplicity, Stella Crater is finally ready to reveal what she knows. Sliding into a plush leather banquette at Club Abbey, the site of many absinthe-soaked affairs and the judge's favorite watering hole back in the day, Stella orders 2 whiskeys on the rocks, one for her and one in honor of her missing husband. Stirring the ice cubes in the lowball glass, Stella begins to tell a tale of greed, lust, and deceit. As the novel unfolds and the women slyly break out of their prescribed roles, it becomes clear that each knows more than she has initially let on. For readers who enjoyed Empire Rising by Thomas Kelly and The Other Typist by Suzanne Rindell. The Winter People by Jennifer McMahon. West Hall, Vermont has always been a town of strange disappearances and old legends. The most mysterious is that of Sarah Harrison Shea, who in 1908 was found dead in the field behind her house, just months after the tragic death of her daughter Gertie. Now in present day, 19-year-old Ruthie lives in Sarah's farmhouse with her mother Alice and her younger sister Fawn. Alice has always insisted that they live off the grid, a decision that suddenly proves perilous when Ruthie wakes up one morning to find that Alice has vanished without a trace. Searching for clues, she is startled to find a copy of Sarah Harrison Shea's diary hidden beneath the floorboards of her mother's bedroom. As Ruthie gets sucked deeper into the mystery of Sarah's fate, she discovered that she's not the only person who's desperately looking for someone that they've lost, but she may be the only one who could stop history from repeating itself. For readers who enjoyed The Twisted Ones by T. Kingfisher and The Night Strangers by Chris Bajalian. E. Cummings, A Life by Susan Cheever. E. Cummings was and remains controversial. This reassessment of the life and work of the preeminent 20th century poet examines the idiosyncratic expressions that led to critical disagreements about his achievements, providing coverage of such topics as his Cambridge youth, Harvard education, and relationships with other writers. For readers who enjoyed One Writer's Beginnings by Eudora Welty and Thornton Wilder by Penelope Niven. A Touch of Stardust by Kate Alcott. When Julie Crawford leaves Fort Wayne, Indiana for Hollywood, she never imagined she'll cross paths with Carole Lombard, the dazzling actress from Julie's provincial Midwestern hometown. The young woman has dreams of becoming a screenwriter, but the only job Julie's able to find is one in the studio, publicity office of the notoriously demanding producer David O. Selznick, who is busy burning through directors, writers, and money as he films Gone with the Wind. Although tensions run high on the set, Julie finds she can step onto the back lot, take in the smell of smoky gunpowder and the soft rustle of hoof skirts, and feel the magical world of Gone with the Wind come to life. Julie's access to real-life magic comes when Carole Lombard hires her as an assistant and invites her into the glamorous world Carole shares with Clark Gable, who is about to move into movie history as the dashing Rhett Butler. Carole Lombard, happily profane and uninhibited, makes no secret of her relationship with Gable, which poses something of a problem for the studio, because Gable is technically still married, and the last thing the film needs is more negative publicity. Julie is there to fend off the overly curious reporters, hoping to prevent details about the affair from slipping out, but she can barely keep up with her blonde employer, let alone control what comes out of Carol's mouth. And as their friendship grows, Julie soon finds that she doesn't want to. Carol, both wise and funny, becomes Julie's role model for breaking free of the past. For readers who enjoyed The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Reed Jenkins and The Swans of Fifth Avenue by Melanie Benjamin. My Sunshine Away by M.O. Walsh. In the summer of 1989, a Baton Rouge neighborhood best known for cookouts on sweltering summer afternoons, cauldrons of spicy crawfish, and passionate football fandom is rocked by a violent crime when 15-year-old Lindy Simpson, free spirit, track star, and belle of the block, is attacked late one evening near her home. For such a close-knit community, the suspects are numerous, and the secrets hidden behind each closed door begin to unravel. Even the teenage boy across the street, our narrator, does not escape suspicion. It is through his eyes, still haunted by heartbreak and guilt many years later, that we begin to piece together the night of Lindy's attack and its terrible rippling consequences on the once idyllic community. For readers who enjoyed We Were the Mulvaneys by Joyce Carol Oates and The Roundhouse by Louise Erdrich. The Secrets of Sir Richard Kenworthy by Julia Quinn. Sir Richard Kenworthy has less than a month to find a bride. Can't be too picky, but when he sees Iris Smythe Smith hiding behind her cello at her family's infamous musicale, he thinks he might have struck gold. She's the type of girl you don't notice until the second or third look, but there's something about her, something simmering under the surface, and he knows she's the one. Iris Smythe Smith is used to being underestimated. With her pale hair and quiet, sly wit, she tends to blend into the background, and she likes it that way. So when Richard Kenworthy demands an introduction, she is suspicious. He flirts, he charms, he gives every impression of a man falling in love, but she can't quite believe it's true. And when his proposal of marriage turns into a compromising position that forces the issue, she can't help thinking that he's hiding something, even as her heart tells her to say yes. For readers who enjoyed A Lady Awakened by Cecilia Grant and Romancing the Duke by Tessa Dare. Half the World by Joe Abercrombie. Desperate to avenge her dead father, Thorne lives to fight, but she has been named a murderer by the very man who trained her to kill. She finds herself caught up in the schemes of Father Yarvey, Gatlin's deeply cunning minister. Crossing half the world to find allies against the ruthless High King, she learns harsh lessons of blood and deceit. Beside her on the journey is Brand, a young warrior who hates to kill, a failure in his eyes and hers, but with one chance at redemption. Will Thorne forever be a pawn in the hands of the powerful, or can she carve her own path? For readers who enjoyed A Game of Thrones by George R.R. Martin and 100,000 Kingdoms by N.K. Jemisin. Finding Jake by Bryan Reardon. While his successful wife goes off to her law office each day, Simon Connolly takes care of their kids, Jake and Lainey. Now that they are in high school, the angst-ridden father could feel more relaxed, but he doesn't. He's seen the statistics, read the headlines, and now his darkest fear is coming true. There has been a shooting at school. Simon races to the rendezvous point where he's forced to wait. Do they know who did it? How many victims were there? Why did this happen? One by one, parents are let out of the room to reunite with their children. Their numbers dwindle until Simon is alone. As his worst nightmare unfolds and Jake is the only child missing, Simon begins to obsess over the past, searching for answers, for hope, for the memory of the boy he raised, for mistakes he must have made, for the reason everything came to this. Where is Jake? What happened in those final moments? Is it possible he doesn't really know his son, or he knows him better than he thought? For readers who enjoy Defending Jacob by William Landay and We Need to Talk About Kevin by Lionel Shriver. A Murder of Magpies by Judith Flanders. It's just another day at the office for book editor Samantha Clare, checking jacket copy for howlers, wondering how to break it to her star novelist that her latest effort is utterly unpublishable. Lunch scheduled with gossipy author Kit Lowell, whose new book will deliciously dish the dirt on the fashion industry. But little does she know how much trouble Kit's book is about to cause before it even goes to print. When Police Inspector Field turns up at the venerable offices of Timmins and Ross, asking questions about an undelivered package that was addressed to Sam, she knows something is wrong. The messenger sent to deliver the package was murdered, and then Kit goes missing. Suddenly, Sam's 9-to-5 life is turned upside down, and she is propelled into a criminal investigation. Someone doesn't want Kit's scandalous manuscript published, and unless Sam can put the pieces together in time, they'll do anything to stop it. For readers who enjoyed The Silkworm by Robert Galbraith and A Line to Kill by Anthony Horowitz. Jasmine and Fire, A Bittersweet Year in Beirut by Salma Abdelnour. As Beirut exploded with the bombs and violence of a ruthless civil war in the 80s, 9-year-old Salma and her family fled Lebanon to start a new life in the States. Ever since then, even as she built a thriving career as a food and travel writer in New York City, Salma has had a hunch that Beirut was still her home. She kept dreaming of moving back and finally decided to do it. But could she resume her life in Beirut so many years after her family moved away? Could she, or anyone for that matter, ever really go home again? For readers who enjoyed House of Stone by Anthony Shadid and The Last Nomad, Coming of Age in the Somali Desert by Shugri Said South. The Absolutist by John Boyne. It is September 1919. 21-year-old Tristan Sadler takes a train from London to Norwich to deliver a package of letters to the sister of Will Bancroft, the man he fought alongside during the Great War. But the letters are not the real reason for Tristan's visit. He can no longer keep a secret, and has finally found the courage to unburden himself of it. As Tristan recounts the horrific details of what to him became a senseless war, he also speaks of his friendship with Will, from their first meeting on the training grounds at Aldershot to their farewell in the trenches of northern France. The intensity of their bond brought Tristan happiness and self-discovery, as well as confusion and unbearable pain. For readers who enjoyed The Cartographer of No Man's Land by P.S. Duffy and In Falling Snow by Mary Rose McColl. Girls in White Dresses by Jennifer Close. Isabella, Mary, and Lauren feel like everyone they know is getting married. On Sunday after Sunday, bridal shower after bridal shower, they coo over toasters, collect ribbons and wrapping paper, eat minuscule sandwiches and doll-sized cakes. They wear pastel dresses and drink champagne by the case, but amid the celebration, these women have their own lives to contend with. Isabella is working at a mailing list company, dizzy with the mixed signals of a boss who claims she's on a diet, but as Isabella file all morning if she forgets to bring her a chocolate muffin. Mary thinks she might cry with happiness when she finally meets a nice guy who loves his mother, only to realize he'll never love Mary quite as much. And Lauren, a waitress at a midtown bar, swears up and down she won't fall for the sleazy bartender, a promise that his dirty blonde curls and perfect vodka sodas make hard to keep. For readers who enjoyed A Girl's Guide to Moving On by Debbie McComber and Love the One You're With by Emily Giffen. The Language of Flowers by Vanessa Diffenbaugh. The Victorian language of flowers was used to convey romantic expressions, but for Victoria Jones, it's been more useful in communicating grief, mistrust, and solitude. After a childhood spent in the foster care system, Victoria is 18 and emancipated. With nowhere to go, she sleeps in a public park where she plants her own small garden. When a local florist discovers her talents, Victoria realizes she has a gift for helping others through flowers. For readers who enjoyed Hotel on the Corner of Bitter and Sweet by Jamie Ford and The Lost for Words Bookshop by Stephanie Butland. Next to Love by Ellen Feldman. Set in a small town in Massachusetts, Next to Love follows three childhood friends whose lives are unmoored when their men are called to duty in World War II. The changes thrust upon Babe, Millie, and Grace move them in directions they never dreamed possible, while their husbands and boyfriends are enduring their own transformations. As they change, so does America, and yet the three friends remain bonded by their past. For readers who enjoyed All the Light We Cannot See by Anthony Doerr and The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna. Nightwoods by Charles Fraser. Named the guardian of her murdered sister's troubled twins, Luz struggles to build a family with the children before being targeted by the twins' father, her sister's killer, who believes that the children are in possession of a stolen cache of money. For readers who enjoyed The Cove by Ron Rash and State of Wonder by Ann Patchett. Too Bright to Hear, Too Loud to See by Julianne Gary. In a look at mental illness that weaves together three timelines, Grayson Todd leaves his successful Hollywood career and wife and young daughter to travel the world, giving free rein to the bipolar disorder that he has been forced to keep hidden for almost 20 years. The entire narrative unfolds in the time it takes him to undergo 12 30-second electric shock treatments in a New York psychiatric ward. For readers who enjoyed The Best Awful by Carrie Fisher and Where the Moon Isn't by Nathan Filer. You can request a print copy of any title from the online catalog. Check Libby Overdrive and Hoopla to see if the ebook or audiobook is available. Thank you for listening. We hope that you found a new book that you perhaps would like to delve into reading. And as always, please answer below, what are you reading?